Won't you love me, baby? Won't you? It's only natural to do. I'm being natural with you. It's only natural to do, baby. I'm being natural with you. Oh, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. It's the things you want, not the things you have. Patience is the thing you will outlast. You need love and attention, don't wanna see you cry. Holding you my one and only high. Oh, give me a reason to make you feel good. You're glorified, tall and high. Firstborn, my first child. No one will love you. It's all that your dad would do. But there's gonna be another tune. He's gonna burn you with attitude. But there's gonna be another tune. He's gonna burn you with attitude. From the day you were born, I knew that you were strong. Thinking you were right, sometimes wrong. I would hold you gently, keep me up all night. You changed me to a man to do what's right. Oh, give me love, 'cause you're my baby girl. A father knows what's right in this bad world. People will play you, they will break your heart, leave you in the cold. Where do I start? Now she feels lonely, 'cause she wants her daddy. A man will play you, break your heart and run away, but you still got family. You another tune. He's gonna burn you with attitude. But there's gonna be another tune. He's gonna burn you with attitude. She's still his baby. Let me bring him life. Even though he's growing old and fades away, love will come saving.
Ooh. Ooh. Kia ora, everybody. We're going to get started in 3 minutes, so grab something to eat, grab a drink and find a seat. 3-minute call. Kia ora, everybody. Can you make your way to a seat, please? We're about ready to start. Be quick, otherwise there's only chairs left up the front. So you better grab a seat. Seats up the front, Steph. So what happens when you come late, mate? Get up the front.
Pono tēnā tātou tēnei rangi nei. Tēnā tātou paramaiki tēnei takiwa o Tūranganui a Kiwa, Tūranganui a Anua, Tūranganui a Maru, Tūranganui a Koi. Haere mai ki Waikanai, ki ta Waikanai tanga o ngā tīpuna, o rau ta wānanga mea o na whewea, ta ki tunga waka, o tirei a te karoa rauru, tēnei mātou e mihine ki o koutou, e ngā tau e pepa me ngā whanaunga, e heke mai te maunga tapu o Hikurangi, kuri pēnei mai, e maunga haumi, tēnei tātou, tēnei rā, me o tātou hua Pākehā, e kawe nei ngā wawata me ngā moimoia o te rohe o Tairāwhiti i tēnei wā. Ka tira, ka mihi ki o tātou mate huhua o te wā, e hinga tonu nei, e hinga atu rā. Ko rātou ki a rātou, ko tātou, kei rungi i te tau e ki ei, ko te au heke tangarua, ko umai ki uta, ko umai ki ngā kaupapa o tō tātou tarati, ka mihi ki ngā kaitiaki, ki te tumu whakarai, me te rangatira nei, a David, tēnei mātou e mihi nei tēnei rā. Ka tira, what a fabulous turnout. Is there something wrong with our seats why you don't want to sit in the front? Have you got something to say to us? It needs to be said face to face. Koe anō, ko te menui e hikama, kua tai katoa mai ki tēnei hui nui, i rungi i te kaupapa o te arohanoa tētei ki tētei. Huri noi tō tātou whare, tēnā koutou 3 times, tēnā tātou katoa, everyone should be seated and ready to go. Kei wete whakahu. I te tau, ko hi Pākehā nei, hinga mai tēnei o ngā rangatira, o te whānau te kani, tēnei rā, ka mihi ki aia, ka mihi ki tana whānau, kei roru i te kapua pauri tonu nei, tēnei tau, ka mihi hoki ki o tātou whanaunga o Ngāti Oneone, e ro o tātou whanaunga, e porotehi ana, ki te tarati, ki te wāpu, e rā wāhi katoa, engari ko te mene i tēnei rā tonu nei, ko whakatau nei te kaupapa, ko te kāwena tahou, ko te huarahi hou, o Ngāti Oneone, ki te ao mau ki tū, mau ki tā, ka tau re here tia nei ki tēnei tā, kia ngai tāwhiri, kia rongo whakata, kia mahaki, kia tamanuhiri, uri pera atu, kia parauringi rawa, huri noa, ka mihi ki aia, ka mihi hoki kia tātou katoa i tēnei rā, tēnā koutou kauri, kia ora tātou katoa.
Tēnā tātou katoa, e hui mai nei tēnei pō. Nera te mihi mai oha ki a koe e tō tātou tā Derek, e whakataki nei ngā karakia me ngā mihi i tēnei pō. Arā ki tēnei, te one roa a hine hākirirangi e whakatau nei a tātou i tēnei pō. Nau mai haramai tai tek, yep, grab those front seats, ka pai. Couple of still spare seats up here, whānau, so help yourselves. Ko ai ahau. So I'm Doug Jones, I'm the Kaihauti or Chief Executive of Trust Tairāwhiti, and it's a pleasure to have everybody here tonight to come and to come and see our AGM. Some housekeeping here at Midway Surf Club, Health and Safety. Everyone should know where the toilets are, but if not, they're just outside the door here and directly in this direction. In terms of emergency exits, you can see the green signs that are lit up. And in terms of an evacuation area, I think it's over here in the car park, so make your way down there in case of emergency. Tonight's session will be live streamed and recorded, and so just be aware of that. And if you get a chance, please speak into the mic so that the live stream can pick up that. And it's also just to acknowledge those that can't be with us here tonight. For now, that's our sort of formalities in terms of health and safety, but I'll hand over to our chair, Mr. David Batten.
Ko te aro tuaka, ko tarawera te maunga, ko te awa o te atua te awa. Ko Ngāti Rangiti te iwi, ko Ngāti Tionga te hapu, ko David Batten ahau. Tēnā tātou, I am David Batten and I am the chairman of Trust Tairāwhiti, and welcome everybody. I don't know if this is bigger than last year, but it's probably better that it gets bigger and bigger rather than smaller and smaller, so I appreciate you all turning up tonight. Tā Derek, just wanted to say ngā mihi. Thank you for being here for us to open up not only today but throughout the entire year. Yourself and Whai Rose, Lady Rose for us have been a big support, so I appreciate you opening us up tonight with a karakia. The purpose of tonight is to reflect on the year that was and to hear from you, our community and beneficiaries. We appreciate you taking the time to join us, and for those who are live streaming, thanks for tuning in wherever the cameras are. I'd first like to introduce our trustees, and I'm not actually going to start with a trustee. We've got Paul Silk first, who is our Eastland Group or Tairāwhiti Investments Director. Dan Jexblake, new trustee, can't be new anymore, a year ago now. Ron Aitken, just a special mention for Ron, who has now just been re-elected onto the trust in this last round. Warren Williams, kia ora ho, Rahet Stoltz, our trustee first, and then me, and Te Puoho Kātini, who has recently been elected on as a new member of the trust. So I'm going to, this is our trustees, everybody. I'm just going to give them a round of applause because we can. So we're going to move through a few formalities and then I'm going to pass over to Doug to give us a bit of an update. So first, apologies. So we've received 3 apologies formally in advance. So Nikki Sutherland, sorry I should have introduced her as well. Nikki Sutherland is also a trustee. Apologies for not bringing her up before, and came on 2 cycles ago with us. Brodie Stevens, who is a director from the Eastland Port, and Susie Te Rure Puha, who is a Tolaga Bay Area School. She is in Wellington still, or she's back, on their way back, and they've just attended a Energy Resilience Award where the trust, along with the contractors and everybody involved and the school, were put up. They actually won that. It was in social procurement, is that correct? So very proud of that work. Are there any other apologies to add to the list? Everyone's turned up. Well, tēnā tātou. We'll take those apologies as being accepted. Confirmation of the 2024 AGM minutes. So we're just going to confirm those. They would have been handed out at the beginning of the hui, is that right? And so we're just looking for motions. I'm going to be a little bit rude, but I'm going to ask beneficiaries to vote on it. And can I please ask you just to say your name as you move or second anything? So I need a mover and a second for those minutes. Andy Grins. Thank you, Andy. Have I got a seconder, please? Debbie. All those in favour? Aye. Carried. Kia ora whānau. Matters arising, so we've got no matters that have been submitted in advance, but we will ask that through general business there'll be plenty of time and availability for questions and anything against the minutes that have been put together. Heka. Okay, so now I'm just going to talk a little bit about the year ahead, but first give a kind of scene setting. So the trust strategy, Te Aka Rautaka ki Te Tau 2029, guides our work. Our strategic framework encompasses our whakapapa, where we are today and our future aspirations. At the centre of our whatu is our waharoa, a gateway open to anyone who aspires to benefit the people of Tairāwhiti. We use the waharoa principles of equity, sustainability and integrity to guide us in delivering on our purposes. Within the trustee, those two being the preservation of capital for future generations and to provide for beneficiaries. Operationally, we use the we have three strategic functions to deliver on. These are community development, economic development and investing. Surrounding the strategic functions are our muka, representing our aspirational well-being outcomes defined by the people of Tairāwhiti. When woven together, they create the enduring vision that we have for the regional well-being of our people, whānau, communities and Tairāwhiti. So those communities of Tairāwhiti can live the lives we value and that matter to all of us. To make sure we set up for success in delivering the strategy, trustees have led quite a big structural change with the Eastland Group this year. The group has been reshaped into an investment company, which will soon carry a new name, which will be Tairāwhiti Investments Limited. We've also put independent governance boards in place for the Eastland Port and our 50% ownership of Eastern Generation. Both these boards are now reporting directly to Tairāwhiti Investments Limited. Importantly, trustees and board directors have worked together on our strategic development and statement of expectations. This sets out a clear and shared way forward, one we're confident in and will strengthen this relationship in our community. We'll come back to these changes later in the presentation and kind of talk through those. Today's been a big day for us as trustees and for our community. So I just wanted to speak a little bit more on one of our key priorities, not only over the last 4 months, but the Trust has been asked to look at itself over the last few years in terms of our relationship with Ngāti Onioni. So, Onioni ki te whenua. Our work with Ngāti Onioni has been long and hard over the last few months, but also years. Ngāti Onioni is the mana whenua and ahi ka of the port area in Tūranganui a Kiwa. This whenua holds immense cultural and historical significance for the hapu. The Trust acknowledges that it has a responsibility in restoring and maintaining mana whenua relationships. Together we have drafted a kawinata, a statement of intent, te huarahi. We're very proud of te huarahi. It's a commitment to a shared program of outcomes together. This includes the return of whenua, recognition of mana whenua, and a long-term partnership. We help to realise the hapu's vision. The kawinata, te huarahi, sets out key outcomes. First, the transfer of specific titles on Hirini Street, which are of particular significance for Ngāti Onioni, an enduring partnership agreement between the Trust and the hapu, and fundings to support hapu-led initiatives that deliver outcomes under our framework, He Rangi Tapu He Tohu Ora. I want to acknowledge and thank Ngāti Onioni for their patience. For the Trust, this is not about restoring or addressing historical grievances. It's about our commitment to te tiriti o Waitangi through He Rangi Tapu He Tohu Ora. So those are the words that we're all wanting to hear, but I think the feeling in the room today, where we signed Te Huarahi, was monumentous for those who were available to be there. It was an important step that we had to take, both as a Trust, but also in terms of our relationships, to make sure that they're strong and they work together. And so it's a difficult challenge and question to ask of trustees, and a very unique situation to be in. But we thought today, and in the signing of Te Huarahi, showed our commitment to that going forward. So yeah, want to mihi to all of our team, the trustees for being bold, Ngāti Onioni for their patience and their commitment, and us working together. So kia ora. Yeah. I'll now hand over to Doug, who's going to liven things up.
Not sure about that. Ka pai, so a year in review. David's touched on the strategic framework in which we operate, just to give you the high level strategy. But this is how we deliver. This is actually how we get on with our mahi, and we do it in 3 ways. The first way is through enabling others, and many of you have been recipients of community grant funding in some way or form. That's only one way in which we do our mahi. Another way is through investing in economic opportunities, and so we'll talk a little bit about that, and then delivering targeted operations. And so we are the Economic Development Agency and the Regional Tourism Organisation for Tairāwhiti, and that takes a lot of work for us in terms of the delivery of what we do, the day-to-day. So those are the 3 ways in which we work. Enabling communities. This is really about how we enable hapu, whānau, whānau-led initiatives, oranga tangata, how do we live our well-being framework, and those well-being initiatives. This year I'm proud to say that we've distributed over $10 million to the community through various distribution grants, and ultimately it's the communities that have led and determined their own pathways to well-being. Over the reporting year, so $10 million has been distributed to 112 different community groups. That's something that we're extremely proud of. This includes distributions through our communities, our feasibility funding, our regional events, but also our community facilities fund, which has been a big focus for the Trust. You might ask why, and you might have noticed through the annual report and through some of the grant distributions that we've made and some of the investments that we've made, we've heavily prioritised community facilities, energy resilience and rangatahi. And the reason for that is because the Tairāwhiti Wellbeing Survey told us that. That's what you guys told us that we should be focusing on. So we've used that data, we've used 3 years of data to help inform those investment decisions, which ultimately you have told us contributes to well-being in Tairāwhiti. It's fundamental for the Trust to understand the needs of our region and ensure that our resources are directed where they're needed most. And ultimately we get to engage with you guys, usually at the AMP show, but throughout that sort of October, November period, you get to tell us what's important, how you're feeling, where you think things are stressful, how you think we're positively contributing to the region. So like I say, we've had 3 years now of this data. We think it's pretty special. No other region really captures data like we do, and it's providing deep insights into what our well-being needs are. A couple of highlights and potentially lowlights that the report that we are about to announce share. So the cost of living in Tairāwhiti is a real challenge. 40% of households told us that they don't have enough, or they just have enough to get by each month. This strain impacts whānau, employers, community groups, but it's all about keeping affordability at the heart of planning, and that is essential for us. Our connection to place and culture is our strength. We're one of the most connected regions in Aotearoa, to te ao Māori, to our history, and to our whenua. This is more of a social asset. It's also a potential economic one. Our youth well-being is our future indicator. Most young people report lower life satisfaction than any other group in the region. If we want a strong future workforce and leaders, we need to invest in their skills and opportunities and that sense of well-being right now. We're developing a future for our kids and for my kids. You know, my 9-year-old and my 6-year-old, they're going to benefit from what we do today. So it's important that we get it right. Next month, we're going to do a not state of the nation, but a state of the region well-being report. We're going to collate all the information that we've pulled together over the last 3 years and pull a well-being report. And that brings the data and insights together, complemented by other regional specific data. This will lead us into the Wellbeing Survey of 2025, and I encourage the community to take part and to hopefully attend when we launch that report. So back into our distributions, community facilities, $7.9 million has gone into community facilities here in Te Tairāwhiti. And those projects, some of our cornerstone projects are the Victoria Sports and Recreation Hub, the Mare Kura Wakaama facility, Whakarua Park up in Ruatoria, and Rugby Park. Collectively, these facilities are used by more than 6,000 individuals annually. We know they bring lasting benefits for our communities and future generations. Now, we're going to share a short video about an awesome project that we completed up with East Coast Schools. It's our school pool solar project, and you would have heard David mention at the start of the meeting that last night we actually won a pretty significant award at the Energy Awards. You know, we're competing with the big players, the Meridians and others of the world, and we won the Social Procurement Award for this particular project. So we'll have a bit of a watch here.
Sharing can mean a bunch of different things to different people. Really what it's about is communities with their own distributed energy resources that they own themselves and sharing the value of that out amongst other members of their community. So what these investments are really enabling the schools to do is to become hubs for their community, for our energy, you know, being all about sort of putting communities at the centre of an energy transition which is going to go on for the next couple of decades. It's a real beacon for what the future can be for all communities across Aotearoa.
This incredible incredible project was first identified as part of Trust Tairāwhiti's Community Facilities Funding Commitment back in 2021. Initially, it was scoped to provide sustainable heating for school pools on the East Coast. This was to extend their swimming season by a few months each year. It was through our engagement with the schools that we saw the opportunity to deliver even more value by enabling electricity resilience for these communities in the form of off-grid battery storage. This is crucial in emergency situations, which we saw firsthand with Cyclone Gabrielle. In February of 2024, our trustees approved $3.5 million towards the project. It's been a privilege to see it all come to life, especially the meaningful impacts it will have for the Tamariki and wider communities.
Our environment alone will tell you that it is important that our kids have good water skills, and Te Tairāwhiti and the Uawa community are really keen to, have healthier lifestyles and sporting opportunities, and so the pool provides that. It's a game changer having the heat pump powered by the solar energy. We don't have to put a time limit on when students can go swimming. The pool covers and the heat pump are going to extend our swimming season considerably. In effect, it would only be very few months where we wouldn't be able to do it. Other than the pool, there are other benefits with the solar energy project. Going downstream, after we have trialled the system, we certainly know that we will be generating more energy than we're able to use, and it is certainly our intention to be able to find opportunities to share that energy with the community. And I just have to say here, on behalf of Te Tairāwhiti, Tolaga Bay Area School and Kahukuranui and the Uawa community, how grateful and appreciative we are to Trust Tairāwhiti for the investment in our community. We would never be able to afford this.
Benefit of this pool facility has meant that our tamariki are actually going to learn to swim and be safe, and living in the Arco, that's pretty important to us. We've seen game-changing results. Our tamariki that could only handle 30 seconds to a minute without shaking and shivering are actually now able to enjoy staying in the water, being so much warmer, and actually we can instruct them on how to swim better, and they're lasting the whole lesson. I've just been absolutely blown away by the potential that it holds for our future here. We've got a sustainability focus in our curriculum, so we're far more aware of what we're using in the school, but also through the actual energy that we're generating, what potential we have to support our wider community. The Trust has come in and worked with us and seeing how they actually really want to make it work for us first and foremost as the people in the kura, but also for the wider community.
Wanted to heat our pool as part of the community facility strategy. After Gabrielle, Trust Tairāwhiti said to the project team, build some resilience into the project, and as a result the school can now be powered by solar power. It's a great benefit. We seem to be the epicentre of severe weather events, being isolated and losing power, so that'll enable some normality during those events, but it also enables a place for whānau to come to in times where there's no power, so that they can access power and be supported. Thanks Trust Tairāwhiti for the investment, and we look forward to any next projects up and down the coast. Ngā mihi.
So we're going to continue in a similar theme of energy resilience. The Marae Solar Energy Initiative launched last year is to help build the resilience of 22 marae across Tairāwhiti. This recognises the important role that marae play in our communities, particularly in providing a safe haven during extreme weather events. The marae solar installations are underway across the Rohe, funded primarily by $886,000 from the Cyclone Gabrielle Appeal Trust, with a further $315,000 from Trust Tairāwhiti. We look forward to sharing more updates as this project progresses, and it's critical to understand that our team are the key connector of marae committees and service providers. and every iwi is represented, so we make sure we've got equity there. Ka pai. Mahi kaitiaki. This strategic focus is about preserving our resources for sustainability and well-being. And in particular, Te Rimu Solar Farm is a solar farm up in Tairāwhiti, developed by the Te Rimu Trust and supports energy sovereignty, employment and future capacity. The ground-mounted solar system on Te Rimu Trust whenua will help to ease pressure on the strained power supply in Tairāwhiti. This project is a brilliant example of community-led energy resilience. It will produce 805 megawatt hours annually, enough to power 120 homes and support other commercial and community developments. Awapuni Moana represents those that have received feasibility funding from Trust Tairāwhiti. An ambitious project to restore and develop Awapuni Moana lands aligns with our strategic priorities in circular economy initiatives and mixed use of whenua. Led by Te Awapuni Moana Trust, the project has the potential to transform land use, unlock water resources, build climate resilience, and develop an international water sports facility. The Awapuni Moana Trust was supported with $25,000 from our feasibility fund to develop a detailed project plan and ultimately inform a wider feasibility workstream. This is a really exciting project for the Trust and we're pleased to support its early investigations. In total, we provided $421,000 of feasibility funding to 12 separate projects with the potential to grow the regional economy in sectors including aerospace, regional film, medical research, blue water economy, nighttime economy, and accommodation. Quite a bit of our work as the Economic Development Agency falls under the strategic focus of fostering innovation. It's about supporting economic growth, local entrepreneurship, and future workforce development. Our regional business partner network is a really important function of the Trust. This year, our advisors supported 216 different local businesses, a significant increase from the 120 that we supported last year. This includes 82 Māori businesses, and the team supported 114,000 in capability funding to these businesses. And it's important to note that that's co-funding, so we match dollar for dollar with those particular businesses. We delivered 19 workshops to nearly 250 attendees, and we supported 67 businesses with their research and development activity. Future Leaders. We also partnered with BDO to develop the Future Leaders program, which is helping to equip our workforce with the skills to lead industries of tomorrow. Over the year, 61 participants across the horticulture, civil construction and forestry industries took part in the program. And I'll give a little segue to some focus that we're doing in the year ahead. We're now piloting a new initiative using AI and a virtual Chief Operating Officer to develop the Future Leaders program. This will support SMEs across Tairāwhiti using AI technology, so keep an eye out for that one. Our work as the Regional Tourism Organisation helps position Tairāwhiti as a culturally rich, vibrant and connected destination for both locals and visitors. The Tairāwhiti Destination Management Plan is a piece of work that focuses on cruise development and working closely with GDC, Eastland Port and our local industry. Over the last season, we welcomed 16 ships to Gisborne Port, bringing nearly 6,000 passengers. The cruise pathway takes a strategic approach to growing those numbers and the broader opportunity in a sustainable way. Also, over the last year, our RTO team has worked alongside new and existing operators to strengthen our tourism products in region. One awesome example of this is the Motu Adventure Tours, outdoor adventures, which invites thrill seekers to explore the rugged terrain of the Motu, countryside on four-wheel drive and ATV tours. I've done it, it's pretty cool. City Centre revitalisation has been a big project for the Trust also. Stage 1 of the project was led and funded by the Trust in partnership with GDC and Rongo Whakaata Iwi Trust, with the aim of identifying initiatives that will help revitalise our city. Through a series of workshops and community events, we collected over 250 submissions on what people loved about our city, what was missing, and what improvements they wanted to see. Informed by that engagement, project partners have identified a series of initiatives, including a river edge playground, landscaping of Heipipi Park, Main Street microspaces, and potential relocation of the eyesight in the city. Potential. We're now working with GDC and Rongo Whakaata on the project's second phase. Community voices are driving this work, and we're excited about what's coming next. Our operational performance is measured against targets set in the annual statement of intent, so you guys should all have a copy of that in your hands. If not, grab one on the way out. I'm pleased to report that we hit or exceeded the majority of our targets. You can find these on page 59 and 60 of the annual report. That covers off our operational focus, and I'm going to hand back over to David to update on our strategic focus that underpins all this work. Trust fund preservation. Kia ora.
Christine's going to tell me off for going off script, but I think it's a good opportunity just to acknowledge our team, both Doug, his senior leadership team, who you've all probably engaged with, everyone else that works within the Trust allows us as trustees to have opportunities like that to be brought to the table. We work well together as trustees, but we also have robust discussions around the things I'm about to talk around our trust deed. So I want to just give everyone a bit of a round of applause from our team, because they deserve it and they've done a good job to get all those things through. So kia ora, Doug. Now I'll jump back onto script. So everything you've heard about today has been made possible through the stewardship of our trust fund. So the trust is kaitiaki of a diverse portfolio of businesses and managed funds, which enables the organisation to deliver on its core purposes, which are to preserve the capital for future generations and to provide for you, the beneficiaries, the people of Tairāwhiti. Throughout this year and the 20 plus odd years that the trust has been here, through prudent management, the trust portfolio has grown significantly over those 3 decades, allowing the trust to support projects and initiatives that provide outcomes through he rangitapu he tuhu ora. Since 1993, the trust has distributed, rounding up, $171 million into the region, while growing equity from $20 million to $626 million. As of the 31st of March 2025, trust assets were $725 million, a decrease of $253 million. At that time, some debt relief was put through the group, and that $253 million shored things up in terms of a debt position. It's important to note that when you're looking at the financials, because that's how we get to the $626 million. The debt has been significantly reduced. On the 30th of April 2024, the Eastern Group was sold 50% of Eastern Generation to Obayashi. Tēnā koe, the whānau from Obayashi who are in the crowd today. That resulted in a $70 million increase in equity through non-cash gains. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the Eastern Group, or Tairāwhiti Investments Limited. As I mentioned earlier, we are pleased to have implemented structural changes with the trust subsidiaries over the year, which are already seeing really positive results. Trustees are committed to continue working closely with Tairāwhiti Investments Limited, its board and the subsidiaries and everyone involved. We really want to be continuing to explore our commercial opportunities in region. I'd like to now invite our chair for the group, Paul Silk to speak to some of the recent changes and operational updates for the Eastern Group. Kia ora.
Well, tēnā koutou katoa. As David said, I'm Paul Silk, the new chair of what was formerly known as Eastern Group, and from today and forever going forward will be known as Tairāwhiti Investments Limited. It is my pleasure to present the annual results for the group for fiscal year 25. I was just reflecting on the stories that Doug spoke to, which talked about the breadth of activities that the Trust supports, the number of people that it touches in terms of the work it does, and the level of engagement it has in this community, and I think that's reflected in the number of people that are here today. So ka pai to all of you for coming along. In setting up my turn, I note that David referred to a moment when, in his words, you will all look at the financials. None of you will. I mean, let's face it. This is the slides which talk about the numbers, and I want this to be over as quickly as you do. But bear with me. One of the benefits of being a new chair, of course, is that you get to bathe in all the reflected glory of the things that have gone well, and I fully intend to do so. And of course, anything that went wrong, not my fault. No, I can give you the number of the person to ring. Before I get into that, I do want to acknowledge a number of people, and in fact I'm going to acknowledge all of you in the room. I won't name you all, so it won't take that long, but firstly to David and the trustees. As a new chair and indeed a new board, we have really benefited from a strong level of engagement, a strong strategic framework to connect to a clear role and purpose for us as a board and as a group of companies. So thank you for that. I echo his comments in respect of acknowledging the management team of the Trust and the management team at Eastland Group as well. They've given us a good platform to step onto and a good point of leverage to work from. To Mayor Stoltz and fellow councillors in the room, I thank you for the mandate that you've given us to act with. It's a great mandate to have when you're asked to manage a pile of money that is intended to enable all of the activities that the Trust delivers into this community. So we don't take that responsibility lightly. We're here to do a good job. To mana whenua representatives in the room, on my first day as chair, and I'm sure it was just a coincidence, we had to wander across the road and meet some people who had decided to occupy some of the land that we owned, which was also always a challenging thing to walk into and engage with them in a constructive manner, but it has absolutely been constructive. And the things that were asked of us as an enabler of the outcomes that we all signed up to today were really easy things to sign up to. So again, thank you for your patience, 90 plus years of patience, but we have made progress today with Ngāti Onioni in particular. To the directors and management of our subsidiary companies and our JV partners, again thanks to you as well for helping deliver us a good platform to step into. And to the members of the community who are all here today. I mean, at the end of the day, we are here to serve you, and that is our absolute intention. I also want to acknowledge Debbie Birch, the previous chair, who I won't blame for anything, for her stewardship of the Pūtea before we stepped into it, and the directors that both served with her and the directors of our subsidiaries, of which there are a few in the room. As I mentioned, we're a new board, and so we have two new members, one of which is new to the community. So Matthew Harker, I'll ask you to stand up and just acknowledge, and one of whom is new to Matthew and I, but not to the community, which is George Reedy. So George, stand up and say hello. Right, the numbers. We won't take long, I promise. think when I kind of look at the results that were handed to us as a new board, there are a number of things that were pleasing aspects of this group. So, firstly, the group clearly had a busy year last year. So, busy on a major transaction, which was the partial divestment of Eastland Generation to Obayashi. And that did a couple of things. One is it effectively created an entity that's got deep pockets now to invest in the renewable energy projects that we want to support in the future. And we've heard a lot already tonight about the success that renewable energy can bring to communities. It also unlocked a pile of cash, which, to be honest, was helpful for the group. It enabled us to reset the balance sheet and give us a good platform on which to invest going forward. In terms of the companies themselves, there was a strong focus on growth-based investment. So there's more capital gone into the port again in the past year, which is enabling it to invest in a project called Twin Berth Light, and fundamentally what that means is that the port will be able to berth two boats at once, and that opens up all sorts of opportunities to diversify the products and cargo that it deals with on any one day, and push into new areas, particularly in terms of containerisation. More investment out at the airport, so that the terminal, as someone who's been through it a few times and had a couple of extended stays thanks to Air New Zealand, it is a great asset for the community, and it's only right that we continue to invest in some of the surrounding amenity as well. So, I mean, you know, it's not that interesting to talk about car parks, but a new car park will certainly add to that, and there's other investment going into that area as well. A strong focus on operational delivery, so I don't need to tell you that it's been a tough journey post-Cyclone Gabrielle, but the good news is that the recovery in log volumes continues. It was improvements last year, and in the first quarter of this year the improvement continues again. So if we can build on that by creating the opportunity to push more things through the port, which was what we will do, then that is only going to be a benefit to the community going forward. A strong level of investment in renewable energy. It is a significant point of focus for this group, and our investment in the generation business. We spent a fair bit of time on it as a board today, and we expect to continue to do so going forward. These are capital-intensive businesses. You know, you do need deep pockets to invest in these things, so it will create some challenges for us. They are complex projects to deliver as well, which brings challenges, but we're absolutely committed to that journey. And pleasingly, a strong level of financial performance, which is the thing that ultimately underpins the earnings that we generate and the dividends that we pay to the trust to perform our key role, which is to be an enabler of the good things that they are doing. You know, it had to have one chart slide that was full of numbers. But fundamentally, the one thing I want to draw out here, I mean, apart from the fact that you know, we have $500 million as part of the POTIO, which we are here to grow, so that is a significant amount of money, and it doesn't matter where you are in New Zealand, that's a significant amount of money, and as I said, we'll take our responsibility to grow that POTIO in a very strong fashion. There's one bit number in there, which is the 13% number. So what I want to reflect on is when people invest in these portfolios, they typically look for a 10 to 12% return. And if you can juice that up into the mid-teens, then that is a good outcome. This portfolio has done well over a long period of time. It probably means that I should be getting out now rather than getting in. But it's a bit of a burden to continue to achieve that, but you should all be proud of what has been delivered to this day anyway, at this point in time. In respect to the future, as I talked about, one of the benefits of bringing a partner into the generation business was that it did release some cash, some of which came to us, some of which came back to the trust, but what it has done is it left us in a financially sound position, which is a good place to be. You know, when an economy is going through a tough time, it actually creates opportunities to invest, and it's entirely appropriate that an organisation like ours does invest in those times.
It is an impact-focused portfolio, as I said right at the beginning. Ultimately, we are here to serve the community. That's clear and very clear in the strategic framework. It was an easy thing for us to pick up and run with it, and it drives our work every day. Top two, transformational. That could be anything. It could be ice creams, it could be a band. It's a renewable energy project. It comes on stream next year, and it's going to double the capacity that we have out of that business. This is a significant investment for this group. It has the ability to generate bucket loads of cash going forward, as he looks to the directors of that company sitting in the audience, and significant opportunities for growth as well. So we have to execute. The team has done a great job of that. I called them match fit, which is good because not only have they delivered this project, but there is a pipeline of other projects that they'll be able to look at with a degree of confidence they can actually execute those projects as well going forward. As I talked about earlier, the port is ready for growth. The port has benefited from significant investment in recent years and is now well positioned to take advantage of the opportunities to not only grow the volume and the products they have now, but also look for new opportunities. Again, another conversation that we had at our board meeting today. Renewables acceleration, so it's not just about geothermal, but we look at opportunities in other forms of renewable energy as well. We've got a solar farm out at the airport that produces enough power to power 1,000 homes, and we will continue to look for opportunities like that. And community aligned. I'm not going to say it again. Hopefully you've got the sense from the words I've said so far. We are absolutely aligned to the Trust. We're absolutely aligned to the community. We know why we're here. We've got a clear role and purpose, and now it's up to us to execute. So thank you for your time, and I'll hand back to David.
Kia ora, Paul. So we're just going to, before we kind of wrap up, and I pass over to Doug for general business and questions. Just want to acknowledge and kind of mirror in terms of that support of all the subsidiaries, the growth and the development in terms of the Trust and what we're trying to do with that relationship with Tairāwhiti Investments Limited and the subsidiaries and their directors at a governance level is to build each other up and to use each other's expertise and understanding and support of each other. It's not to say that that hasn't happened in the past, but it is definitely part of our focus. And what that does is it gives us breadth in terms of our commercial nous that's in the room when we have to make some of these big decisions around what to do with apparently all this money that Paul and the rest of the team are going to pump through to the Trust now. I just want to acknowledge that that's where we're trying to take things forward, make sure that we're all in kind of the waka together and working on things together at that governance level, but then also at the management level and everything's flowing through. So tātou whānau. So before he's giving me before we look at the year ahead, I'll just take a moment to acknowledge some personnel changes at the Trust over the last year. So in December, we farewelled Richard Searle. I didn't see enough Richard here today, but he finished up in his GM of Economic Development role and then jumped over. Took a position as the Chief Executive of Gisborne Holdings Limited. In May, so thanks Richard for everything, in May we also lost Phil McLeod as well after 9 years, and I do see Phil in the room today. So ngā mihi Phil, who's also left the Trust and now is the Chief Financial Officer at GHL along with Richard. So appreciate the tātou whānau together, but I won't give a dig in front of all these people, mate. And then also just want to acknowledge John Clark, and I haven't seen John either this evening. John retired from the Trust in June 2025 after 9 years of dedicated service to the Trust. John served as chair from 21 to 23 and led the Trust through some really full-on period of significant transition through the Eastern Network sale and major organisational changes. So from the trustees and all of us, just wanted to say thank you, Richard, John, for your contributions and wish you and your whānau all well. So there's not a lot for me to talk around this, but please do read through the statement of intent. So looking forward, this actually will give you the direction over the next 12 months. So 2029 down to the next 12 months. So please pick up the statement of intent and have a look through. It is an important piece of kind of our overall strategy as it builds through to 2029, and it also sets out the next 12 months, our focus initiatives, the budget, and kind of high-level targets that we're going to be focusing on. So please have a read. Motions, all good? Okay, so a little bit more formality again, please. I have to pass 4 motions today. If you can please support us with that, that would be great, and just your name would also help. So I need a mover, a second, and then carry everything on the 4 motions, please. So the first motion, sorry, put them up, is the 2024-2025 financial statements and annual report. So the motion is that Trust Tairāwhiti's consolidated financial statements and annual report for the year ended 31st of March 25 be received and noted. Can I please get a mover? Thank you, Michael. Oh, Lyle Evans. Thank you. All those in favour? Aye. Carried. Kia ora. Appointment of the auditor. So in the interest of efficiency and cost effectiveness, beneficiaries reappoint Deloitte as Trust Tairāwhiti's auditor for the period from the conclusion of this annual report until the conclusion of the next annual meeting. Annual meeting to annual meeting. Can I please get a mover in a second? Joe? Martin? Oh, and Ash. Sorry, Ash. Auditor fee, thank you. Oh, sorry. All in favour? Kia ora. Auditor fee, the remuneration of the auditor of the Trust Tairāwhiti for the period from the conclusion of this annual meeting until the conclusion of the next annual meeting be fixed by trustees. Mover in a second, please. Lyle Evans again. Yeah, and Martin. Thank you. All those in favour? Alright, kia ora. Last one. 2025-2026 statement of intent, that the statement of intent for the 2025-26 year be received and noted. Move in a second, please. Yeah, make a vote. Yeah, and Ash Fish. Yeah. All those in favour? Kia ora whānau. We now get to the exciting bit where I get to hand over for general business for Doug. So, yeah, just want to mirror all the councillors in the room. Thank you for all of your support. Please remember that, you know, we're here if you want some kōrero.
Yeah, it's election period.
Ka
I'm
pai.
going to open up for general business and questions soon, but we've received a few questions ahead of the AGM, so we thought we'd answer those first. I forgot them last year, so I'll do it this time. So the first question is, why is there no note referencing loans to Rāngai Limited or Toro Tairāwhiti Limited in the 2024 financial statements where the loans were paid? The loans remain in place. From financial year 2024, these are no longer disclosed under the related party transactions due to a change in trustees. That means that these entities no longer meet the definition of a related party under the applicable accounting standards. We cannot provide detailed contractual information as these are subject to confidentiality obligations. Rāngai Limited also submitted a funding application that was awarded in financial year 2025, and this aligned well with He Rangi Tapu He Tohu Ora. The next question, as the trust is now flush with funds after the sale of Eastland Network and 50% Eastland Generation, is it not time to make a major donation to the council to assist as many persons and businesses as possible by tempering rate increases? After all, it was the contribution made by all electricity users, businesses and personnel that set up this trust. Answer: we're not that flush. Paul. While we work closely with the council, particularly through our trustee appointment model, they appoint our trustees. We have a different role to the council. Ours is to serve the people of Tairāwhiti and protect the trust's value. That's actually one of our key priorities, is to protect the value. So a big investment like that would not be protecting the value. Directly funding the council wouldn't align with that purpose. Another couple of points, as you would have heard tonight, $171 million has been invested into our region since 1993. I'll just remind people that in 2022, and as recently as 2024, in 2022 we carried $376 million worth of debt. And only in 2024, that was still at $264 million. The debt now sits at 40. So we paid the mortgage off with all the sales. That's the best analogy that we can help people to understand that. So hopefully that answers a few questions. I know there's probably some bubbling away. We'll open the floor. Happy to take any questions, particularly about our presentation and any of the information that you've received tonight. Kia ora. Ash.
So following the sale of the generation assets, I see you guys have made significant further investment into joint ventures. Do you have any data around the jobs created from those joint ventures?
It's a good question. The
data
yes,
I won't have them at hand
now, but we can get them to you. I'm pretty sure we'll definitely have that data.
Andy.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. This community's got 3 public entities, 4 of the Camp Council. There's a huge resource driving those entities. It's been long felt that if there was some sort of combination of entities, that something good could come out of it for the community and a lot of efficiencies could be growing from it. Is Trust Tairāwhiti looking at that model, or even just doing some investigations? It's that Tairāwhiti Inc. concept. It seems to have been around for a lot of years, but not really building any momentum. It'd be great to see some investigation to see the efficiencies that could come out of that. Yeah, I think council would like to see that.
Is there nothing like a curly one to start me off?
Yeah, no, look, it is part of our view to kind of investigate how that works. I think the concept of Tairāwhiti Inc. and the trustees have spoken about this a bit over the last probably 6 to 12 months on what that might look like. Over the history of the trust, could I say that that was possible, or the other entities actually working together with us being possible in terms of where they sit with their own funding and their own funding mechanisms is kind of different. And I kind of loop back to the concept of the trust deed saying around the preservation of capital and the association with that with the community as well, and providing for the community. So the question is, who would drive that? How would you actually make that work? And if you're just talking about a management function where they all come together, that is a review of you've got plenty of skilled people sitting inside those organisations. So no, it's not off the table in terms of a review by the trust, but we're not really heavily involved in making sure that that happens. We've got a whole lot of other priorities that are kind of sitting in front of us at the moment to make sure that works. But I acknowledge the Tairāwhiti Inc. concept, and that it's been floated for quite a while across those different entities.
Yeah, me too again. Yeah, exactly.
There's a sort of question about the future. So the equity, I'm thrilled with the position, the execution of the plan to get to where we are today. It really relates to the investments that are going to come, because we talk about work at the port, I know that's significant, and we talk about work at the energy opportunities, and I know they're significant. I don't have a feel for the numbers, and it would be really good, just broadly, because when you think about, everyone looks at that and thinks it's money, it's not money, it's investment in things that have a future return. It would be useful to give us some broad understanding in a really conceptual way of, because you look at that and say, I can get 13% on that, and you say, why aren't I getting a bit more in the community? But there is other opportunities that we're pursuing, and when you stop that, I don't know, that's another question in strategy. But some size of those would be useful for the beneficiaries to get.
I can give a really, I'm going to give an accountant hat at the moment. In terms of the total value, and these are very round numbers, we might be talking around 100 million currently looking in liquid managed funds types of things, probably about 150 odd plus, maybe closer to 200 on the port, and the balance sitting inside generation. So yeah, does that all kind of add up to close to 600? That's really broad kind of numbers. So, and I would probably caution around those managed funds when we say that we're flush with cash, that we've actually got future commitments with investments that we already have. And so that's part of the relationship with Obayashi. That's the kind of relationships we have with other investors inside the community. And so some of that is actually already committed to. So a lot of those numbers that you'll see in the report we may have committed to, but they haven't been cashed in yet physically. So there's a bit of a balance in what happens inside that as well. But that's roughly around the proportions of. So when last year we actually put up a liquidity. It was just a pie graph to try and show the view of the trustees was to find a balance to move away from everything a whole lot tied up in terms of those and move it to more liquid assets so that we can do stuff with it, reinvest, support the community and do what we need to. But those are kind of my rough numbers. I don't know if you think.
So of that $500 million, 63%. I sort of get that. It's the next bit. It's where we're taking those assets and the scale.
Yeah, you know, that's a really good question, and we're having an investment strategy day in September. So coming out of September, I'll be able to give you the answer to that particular question. So, and as I said before, I mean, make no mistake, when you're invested in infrastructure, it is capital intensive. You know, you normally have to wear jackets with deep pockets, and you have to have long arms. And typically, you know, when you're an entity that's serving a community, jackets have short pockets and short arms. So, and, you know, balancing that need for capital to continue investing in growth while managing the distributions that should be available to the current generation is always part of the challenge in this piece. So if you're looking for 13%, normally you're looking for 5% in cash and 8% in capital growth. If you can have those kind of numbers, then that's a very good outcome and sustainable.
Basically, in the past we have had a set of accounts for the Eastern Group to be available at this meeting. Is there a possibility of a set of accounts for Tairāwhiti investments?
So at the moment they will be individual.
Done. There's a requirement for us to have them individually done. When we get them audited and when they're all being rolled up now, the efficiency that we saw was actually bringing them all in together into one. Yes, yes. So we can talk about that for the next year to have those available or available wherever. But that was the concept of today's accounts being everything put together rather than having two separate parts of the accounts. Yeah. Happy to note that. Yep. No, happy to do that. Was I close? Okay. Way to help a brother out.
This is Trust Tairāwhiti's AGM, not Eastland Group's. But Eastland Group is a wholly owned subsidiary of Trust Tairāwhiti, as you know. And after selling 50% generation and restructuring the Eastland Group into what is now an investment company, we agreed it was better to merge the Eastland Group financials in with the trust report. So the trust has more control and more ownership of what's happening with its subsidiaries. That way the trust has the responsibility to report back to the community on performance in one place. So that's our answer.
That didn't sound anything like my answer. Sorry, I didn't. Josh.
Good everyone. Josh Wallaby, work for New Zealand Rugby, former CEO of Tairāwhiti. I just want to acknowledge the trust for its significant contribution to Rugby Park, but also Whakaroa Park, and just from a recreational point of view for the employees as well. So just want to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Kia ora everybody. Water Ground's my name on my hat. I'm wearing today is the chair of the Victoria Sport and Recreational Hub, which you'll see we probably are the most significant in sense of contribution. So I just really want to stand and thank Trust Tairāwhiti for the $6.1 billion investment, to all the netball players, the pickleball players, the tennis players, the Oscar program from the YMCA, and hopefully next year will feature as the finished product. So kia ora. Thank you.
Hei whai haere ngā kupu a Moira, e mihi atu ana ki ngā Tairāwhiti o te trust. Kia koe tāwera, nā ngā kupu whakatau i te tātou, i te kona. David, trustees, Doug, Neil Kaimahi. Nori told me tonight you get along to that Trust Tairāwhiti meeting and you thank them for the solar power energy project. I see she's already done that, so that's okay. But what I do want to say is also thank you for the investment in the Uawa Laundromat project. It's quite an innovative solution to health and wellness in Uawa that is supported by our community. So thank you very much for that. And so the next time my cousin Rich pops up to Uawa, she can bring her basket of s'mores along too. So kia ora David.
Mariana kia tātou. Kia koe te whananga te tēnā koe. Koutou tuaki ana, chairperson of Tairāwhiti Voyaging Trust. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Trust Tairāwhiti for the support they've given us over the last few years. It's been awesome and it's helped us to achieve our goals for our Tairāwhiti people and to keep our kaupapa waka voyaging prospering in the Tairāwhiti. Nō reira tēnei, te mihi atu ki a koutou ka tika, a koutou katoa. Nō reira tēnā koutou, kia ora
Hello, kia ora everyone. My name is Polly Crawford. I'm a trustee along with Morris for Trust Tairāwhiti Technology Trust, a digital hub over at the Kaiti Mall. Just last year I was here, we talked about a small grant that you guys gave us, and I said that I'm going to come back and ask for another one, and we did get another one this year, and that's why I'm standing up to say thank you. All week I've been telling our participants about it, and one of them wrote this, and I want to share it with you tonight. Between 400 and 600 residents each month have their lives lifted with love, wisdom, patience, and guidance from our Taitec whānau. The age range is 55 to 92, and the areas are from Hicks Bay on the east coast to the west rural townships. We have been given the amazing opportunity to gently push into the 21st century, to find within ourselves the ability to join the digital age. We have been given the courage to know now that we can be who we never thought we could be. We who were lonely have found a community we can join and even teach our moguls the world we are giving to them. Thank you for the blessing that you have given us. You may never know just how much you have changed our lives, and that of our whānau and friends. May God's blessings be with you all for the work for the betterment of our people. That was from my
Kia ora, Jeremy Dillon. I just want to start by raising a question I asked last year, a little bit awkward, about the Trust having quietly abandoned the pledge in 2019 to invest $100 million in the community over the next 5 years. I just raise it again because it's not in the minutes, but also because there might be a bit of a theme there, because when I look at the annual report, when you talk about preserving capital, for the past 2 years the Trust's had an approach where it has calculated the capital preserved for the capital beneficiary, taking into account a number of things, and it was a big number. It was $272 million last year, and now you're just talking about preserving based on inflation, so it's only $42 million. So could you just talk to that?
I'll talk about the pledge, or an assumed pledge. I think there was a commitment by previous management well before any of our trustees and us got here, around $100 million. I think the figure may have been over 5 years. I think we responded back to say that I think we were just short of around about 92 million from memory, something like that, just over $90 million when we accumulated all the work that we did around economic development, regional tourism, which is our direct investment, and the direct investments and the community grants in that time. So we had sort of pulled that all together. So that was a response to that question last year that we followed up with you. We will amend the minutes, I think, or at least reflect that comment in the minutes. So I hope that answers your question. Remembering that that was before COVID, before a cyclone, and things have changed. The world has changed significantly since then. But I think we only just fell short of that original pledge. The second one around the reporting of what the potential beneficiary or return to beneficiary is, it records, I think it's about $42 or $43 million in this year's annual report. In previous years we've recorded a notional value, and so we have differing opinions of what that value could be. And so it was as high as 242 million, I think it was. It may be as high now as 350 million. Where we need, so what we have agreed with council, because ultimately they are the residual beneficiary, is we're actually sitting down and having that conversation to understand what is the end goal, what is that target. Let's be clear on the formula so that we can all move forward together in the future. Because what does that mean? It means that potentially we could spend more money instead of holding it back for the future. It also could mean that actually we're spending too much. So we need to get clear on what that end target looks like, and so we've committed, myself and Nadine at council, to actually sit down and work through what that is. So that's some coming work over the next few months.
Yeah, Jeremy, just from a trustees perspective, that's part of our strategy internally for, it's called the 2073 kind of view, and it's high on our level of priorities to understand over the next 12 months as well. For exactly the point that Doug's just talking to, what does that value look like at 2073 for us to support us making decisions? One of the other things around the trustees is that we're making decisions for 2073, and I've only been here for 2 years, and if they like me I might be a little bit longer, but we don't want to set too many principles in place for those who follow that come after us, but make sure that that preservation is hitting the right target. I can tell you that across the table, one of our biggest fears is that preservation of capital and what that means. You do not want to be the trust that gets that wrong, and that's what we're focused on. So getting that strategic review done around 2073 with the council, understanding that with Doug so that they can bring it back to the trustees and do our analysis, so we know, is it $5 million that we can distribute, is it 10, is it 20, is it, what is it? And that's what we want to get very clear on.
Hey, just kind of following on with that theme of that question, I see the financial investment portfolio has grown significantly over the last year with the sale of proportionate generation. So from like $69 million in financial instruments is what it's increased by. So I guess, how do you guys as a group form an opinion of how much to put into protecting the asset base versus investment into community and economic development?
Why don't we try to surround ourselves with smart people, Ash, to help us make that decision. Two, when we look at that number, we have to remember that we've got commitments, as I said before, in terms of our relationship with our JV partners and what that looks like. So part of that commercial sensitivity that's sitting at the back of the trust and what we can kind of divulge on, my view is that part of that puti actually has to be set aside so that we can continue to reinvest in relationships that we already have. That then, with the 2073 and the distributions that we get from our subsidiaries, help us form what the future strategic distribution looks like as we're going through that. And remembering that distributions is one point, we also need to continue to build on the capital that's there, or at least preserve it, but we want to be building on it, and also looking at other regional economic development opportunities in region where we have to invest. And that is a large drive of the trustees and Doug and the team. How do we bring that money back into the region to try and support the multipliers that affect that? So all those things are balancing all at the same time in order for us to arrive at a decision as trustees.
And I think it was touched on earlier, so we've got between 100 and 120 million dollars of liquid assets. The rest are in hard infrastructure. So in order to make those liquid, so 85% of that asset base sits in a port or a generation business. So ultimately, to get liquid, you would have to sell, right, or actually do something or throw up more money out of those assets. So it's a bigger question than, how much money can we get? So ultimately, we have around about 15% that's liquid. And so that's in terms of preserving the capital, as Paul talked about, we're talking about big infrastructure businesses that require significant capital to maintain it. And so we've got to take that into account alongside anything else that we do around economic development. That is just one aspect in terms of how we deliver well-being for the region. Ian. I'll stay with you. Stay there.
I'm not going to ask another accounting or financial question, but I stand here as the chair of the Eastland Helicopter Rescue Trust. A new role for me, but I've been on the trust for a number of years, and obviously Patrick's been the face of the entity for a number of years. It's not our AGM, but it's yours, and congratulations to you all for the results you've achieved, the vision going forward. But I think it's just appropriate to update you on a couple of things that are quite significant for our region from a rescue helicopter perspective. And the first one is obviously an announcement we made that we're getting a brand new helicopter here next year that will serve our communities. And when you hear $20 million, we could help you with the asset if you want it on the books, but it doesn't quite work that way. But through your ongoing support, we've been able to put a deposit down to secure it for our region. The biggest funder, and I look across there at Dana, has come out of the Crown. And we've been able to come up with a creative and innovative investment approach to make sure this region's got the best piece of equipment available. For those, in the last time since we're all together, 485 people have been directly impacted, plus their families. That's what it means. We talked about resilience funding. The government, again, on the back of Cyclone Gabriel, and a number of people performed extremely well. But we've been recognised again, and we receive funds. And for those of you that are on the flight path north, tomorrow morning, when you hear the chopper go north, it isn't a mission. We're actually opening helipads at Whakarua Park, Metakoa Community Centre, Health Centre, and the rededication of the Puia pad. Crown funded, but really shoring up the resilience for our community that we can deliver the service that we're tasked with doing and carry proudly the Trust Tairāwhiti logo.
Kia ora mai tātou. Tuatahi rā, ka tika, I tikana te tuku mihi atu rā, ki tērā o ngā mana, a ngai tāwhi, a rātau ono tēnei whenua tauri kura, no reira e kore e kutu ngā mihi kia koutou. Anō nei, ka tū tēnei, hei tono, Ngāti Shaka. O tō tātou hapu, a Ngāti Ono. Ka tau mai anō tēnei, ki tēnei pō, ki te tuku mihi atu ki moi te morea, mo te whakatau, i te atane. Engari rā, ka kite au, i tērā o ngā tērā waharoa, me ngā kupu koro nei te wā, ka kite au i weira o ngā kupu, e hara te take o wena. E rangi tapu, e tohu morutu. Koina hoki, tēnei rangi mo tātou o Ngāti Ono. E rangi tapu tēnei, e tohu morutu tēnei rangi. O tātou, o te kōrangi kei mora anō i a tātou. Tātou katoa. Mātou o Ngāti Ono nei, te tarati o te Tairāwhiti. Nei rā, mau ko taku tamahine, taku tāhine tēnei. Mau anō etahi o ngā tarati o Ngāti Ono nei, ka whakatau, ka whakakanohi, te tuku mihi atu. I kore e mutu ngā mihi kia koutou katoa. Kuri no, tō tātou whare, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. A kia ora tātou katoa.
I don't know how to drop this mic. No. Couple of things. Thank you all for coming out and attending this evening.
All been mingling and everything else. The trustees again just want to reiterate our thanks to all the teams that are involved. it's a huge trust, lots of different subsidiaries and things to work through. And I said before, just a huge mihi to our team and everyone that's kind of supporting us. So thank you for coming out this evening. I'm going to pass to Derek, hopefully, to close us out with me. Tēnā koe.
Hoi no kia ora tātou, nei rā wā tātou kupu korora hei whakakapi i te ātāhuatanga o tā tātou hui tēnei pō. E te mokopuna o te eke, ngā mihi. Nā rā te kupu kororo a rangi uia, kaua ka te rangi tapu hei taupuru iho, ko te rangi tihore, ko te rangi waruhia, kia mārama tātou ki te ketea tāne. Nō reira e ngā whitau o te ketea tāne, kura ranga nei nā i te kete whakairo, tā tātou tarachi e taranei, tēnei mātou e mihi nei kia koutou, hui ake, hui te marama, hui te maiora, haumi e, hui e. Kia ora tātou.